Hey YouTube, my name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka what kind of snatch you want because I got playing around. As you can tell by the title of my thumbnail and the video itself, this is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Give this video a big thumbs up. Give this video at least 30 likes in this video. Follow my social media down below in the description. And go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights. And also go check out my WWE Raw review and highlights. So without further ado, let's get started on my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. Now, AEW Dynamite was a decent show for what it was. It was way better than Raw and NXT. That's all I gotta say. AEW Dynamite was on from Ogden Arena in Edinburgh, Texas. Alright, we go live to the venue as the power goes off with Excalibur and Brian Danielson welcoming us to the show. The music of Orange Cassidy hits to a big ovation as he makes his way to the ring. The music of Darby Allin is next as the lights go down. Darby Allin comes out with the skateboard to a sizable ovation from the fans in Ogden Arena. Up next is the music of the Death Riders as Reilly, Yuta, and Daniel Garcia are in the halls of arena, making their way out and through the crowd. So we get a trick or treat tornado tag match. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Death Riders Reilly, Yuta, and Daniel Garcia. And this match, I might as well say, this match was fun. A fun tag team match. The bell rings as Darby Allin goes right after Daniel Garcia with Orange Cassidy on Reilly, Yuta. Reilly, Yuta, and Daniel Garcia get the upper hand as Reilly Yuta stomps on Darby Allin. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin counter the action and hits the floor as Reilly Yuta sends Darby Allin into the barricade. But he comes back with a steel chair to the back of Reilly Yuta. Darby Allin goes back into the ring and leaps through the ropes, landing on Reilly Yuta on the floor. The fans start a Darby Allin chant. Reilly Yuta bites Darby Allin Reilly Yuta bites Darby Allin the forehead while Daniel Garcia sends Orange Cassidy over the barricade. Daniel Garcia goes after Orange Cassidy in the crowd. Reilly Yuta comes over and as they both double team Orange Cassidy. Suddenly from the upper level of the venue, Darby Allin lands on Reilly Yuta and Daniel Garcia with a coffin drop. Daniel Garcia sends Darby Allin back over the barricade. As Daniel Garcia comes over, he is hit with a drop kick by Darby Allin. So we go to full commercial break. Back from the commercial break, Daniel Garcia and Reilly Yuta are double team Darby Allin in the ring with a double surfboard like move. Reilly Yuta and Daniel Garcia set up a table on the outside. Orange Cassidy is back in the ring with his hands in his pocket. He drop kicks Reilly Yuta and Daniel Garcia. Orange Cassidy hits the ropes in a DDT Reilly Yuta. Orange Cassidy goes a Stone Dog Millionaire, but Daniel Garcia counters with a headlock and then drags Orange Cassidy to the table. Reilly Yuta comes off the top rope and lands on Orange Cassidy as the table breaks in the ring. Darby Allin gives Daniel Garcia his skateboard and tells him to use it. Darby Allin hits Daniel Garcia with a code red and covers him for just a 2 count. Reilly Yuta and Orange Cassidy are on the top rope. Darby Allin climbs up from behind and low blows Reilly Yuta. Orange Cassidy hits Reilly Yuta with a DDT. Darby Allin then lands on Reilly Yuta with a coffin drop. Orange Cassidy covers Reilly Yuta, but Daniel Garcia breaks up the 3 count. Orange Cassidy draws Daniel Garcia to the floor. With an orange punch, Orange Cassidy then goes after Daniel Garcia on the floor. Darby Allin applies the Scorpion Deathlock on Reilly Yuta as he quickly taps out. The winner by pinfall, Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. This was a fun tag team match. We go to a backstage with Hook walking into the venue talking about his match tonight, which is earn a win and get his shot at the world title. He then goes closer to the camera and says that he will focus on Samoa Joe to make sure he doesn't advance tonight. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, when APAC Craig is speaking to the Don Callis. I hate the Don Callis family in AEW. The Young Bucks walk in as Don Callis says it is criminal what AEW is doing to them. Don Callis says the outside forces are making the Young Bucks look like idiots. He tells the Young Bucks to think about what he can do for them. He tells the production truck to do the crew as the Young Bucks gets interest music with Don Callis doing the reintroduction from backstage. As he appears on the screen, a power goes off, which will surprise both Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson as they are on the entrance stage. Up next up is the music of FTR as they make their way out with Stokely, who will be on commentary for this match because there is no outside interference. The music of Jet Speed hits next as Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey makes their way out and down the ring. And finally Jurassic Express is out as their music hits to a very sizable ovation. So we get a Fright Night 4-way fight. FTR, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson versus Jesse Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey versus Jurassic Express. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus. Winner will challenge Brodito at AEW Full Gear for the World Tag Team Champions. This was a good match, man. Good Fright Night 4-way fight. Good match right here. The bell rings as Jack Perry and Bailey start off, but Dax tags himself in. Both men lock up as Dax then chops Bailey. But he reverses it with a kick and then sends Dax to the mat. Jack Perry is tagged in. Mike Bailey takes him down. Both men run the ropes as Mike Bailey takes down Jack Perry with an arm drag. Luchasaurus comes in as Jasper double team Lucha and take down Jack Perry. We get a standoff. FTR and the Young Bucks go and take down Jasper and Jurassic Express. The Young Bucks and FTR isolated Jasper and take down Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight leaps over and tags in Jack Perry, who sends FTR to the floor. Jack Perry leaps over the rope but is caught by FTR. As Jack Perry is driven face first into the announcer table, Cash Wheeler then hits Kevin Knight with a running drop kick. Mike Bailey then leaps over the ropes, taking out FTR, and the Young Bucks on the floor. Kevin Knight is on the top as Dax leaps up. Kevin Knight then grabs Dax Harwood and then goes crashing into all the teams on the floor. So we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break. Jack Perry hits Nick Jackson with a lariat. Luchasaurus as he takes down FTR with a shoulder tackle. Jasper are sent to the floor by Jack Perry. Jack Perry hits Nick Jackson with a destroyer. Luchasaurus covers him for only a 2 count. Kevin Knight goes out there, Lucha, but it's hit with a headbutt. Kevin Knight comes back and DDTs Luchasaurus. Mike Bailey lands on FTR, and the Young Bucks on the floor. Kevin Knight is up on the top rope as Lucha moves. Nick Jackson springboards in, but it's caught by Lucha. Mike Bailey takes down the Young Bucks with a thirst kick and then leg sweep. Kevin Knight comes off the top. It's called by the Young Bucks. Kevin Knight is hit with the BT trigger. Nick Jackson covers Kevin Knight, but he kicks out at 2. Luchasaurus sends Nick Jackson to the floor. He then lands on Nick Jackson with a moonsault off the apron. Kevin Knight is up on the top, and comes down with a huge UFO splash on Matt Jackson. FTR comes in and then grabs Kevin Knight and hits a shatter machine on Kevin Knight for the win. The winner by pinfall, FTR. This was a good 4-way match. The action was all over the place with the four-way tag match. I did my best to capture everything as much as I could. We we go to a video package on the comments. Hangman Adam Page had to say about Samoa Joe on last week's on the last Saturday's collision. Commercial break. Back from the break, the music of Don Callis hits as his family comes out behind him for the family summit. Everyone sits down at table in the ring with mics. So we get Don Callis family summit. And I don't know what this was, but this was like terrible. This was terrible. One thing, but the funny part doing the segment was Okada sticking his middle finger at the Kanushka at the catch, cause that part was funny. But this segment right here, this was just a terrible segment in my opinion. Don Callis says he has something important to say and welcome everyone to his summit. He says there has been a lot of speculations and about problems between Okada and Takeshita, and there are questions to answer. Rocky Ramon says the Don Callis family is large and most dominant faction in all professional wrestling today. He says that Takeshita could not here be here to travel issues. He unveils a photo of the entire family with Don in forefront. Josh Alexander then says the Don Callis family is all about what will be shown on the screen. Adventures airs on highlights of the family and air success. Kyle Fletcher speaks next. Kyle Fletcher pulls out a piece of paper, remind everyone of the oath they took before joining the family, which he reads. The music of Kanushka Takeshita suddenly hits as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion is on the entrance area. He talks to the ring. I'm sorry. He walks to the ring. I don't know why I say he talks to the ring. He walks he walks to the ring. Don Callis acts like he happy to see him. Okada gets up to confront Takeshita. Don Callis gets in the middle of them and tells Takeshita he named him the Alpha, but he needs to understand this is the entire family of Alpha. At the end of the day, this is a family. Don Callis says the family success by doing what he wants. No, I INT, but I in family, and he decides what happens. Don Callis tells Takeshita they built this family on the ashes of Kenny Omega's career. Don Callis says he can tell Takeshita why he was the first and he can be the last out. Don Callis tells Takeshita to put his ego aside and shake Okada's hand. Don Callis tells Takeshita to ignore the fans and shake Okada's hand. It is about to honor. It's all about his honor and the honor of the family, and shakes his hand for him. Don Callis, Takeshita extends his hand. Okada gives Takeshita the finger. That part was funny by itself. As the rest of the family come between them, Don Callis says maybe a handshake is not the way to go on Collision. Takeshita and Okada will team up together and show him Don Callis how they can work as a family. Alright, that entire segment was just terrible. But the funny part is that Okada sticks his middle finger to Kanushka Takeshita. That promo was just terrible. And they show a photo of the Don Callis family. That was just sus. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But that segment was just terrible. We go to a video package with C-Mills Olympia, who is going to challenge Mercedes Moné for the C-Mill Women's World Championship on Collision. Mercedes Moné is going to get another belt. I guarantee you. I can definitely see it. She's going to get 13 belts. After AEW Full Gear, Mercedes Moné and Athena are going to get 14. Well, Mercedes Moné going to get 14. Watch. Backstage, Renee Paquette is talking to the Women's World Champion Chris Statlander, directing her comments to Mercedes Moné. putting her on notice. All right. Next up is the music of the conglomeration as we get the sitcom Vengeance with Kyle Riley coming out and making his way down to the ring. Alright, let me take a sip of my water. The music of John Moxley is up next as he and Maria Shafir make their way out from the back and into the crowd, hopping the barricade with John Moxley getting in the ring. So we get John Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly. And this was a pretty good match in my opinion. The bell rings as Kyle O'Reilly goes after John Moxley, who blocks the jabs. John Moxley takes down Kyle O'Reilly and applies a headlock as Kyle O'Reilly reverses it into an armbar. John Moxley breaks out of the hole. John Moxley nails Kyle O'Reilly with an elbow. Both men exchange blows, kicks, and chops. John Moxley sends Kyle O'Reilly down and then run the ropes and dump Kyle O'Reilly to the floor. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, John Moxley has Kyle O'Reilly in back from the break, John Moxley has Kyle O'Reilly is a full Nelson on the outside and then sends him head first into the steel steps. John Moxley sends Kyle O'Reilly back in the ring. John Moxley then runs at Kyle O'Reilly, who moves and then ties up John Moxley on the ropes. Kyle O'Reilly goes after the left leg of John Moxley, but he counters with a power driver and covers Kyle O'Reilly, who kicks out at 2. John Moxley then applies a crossface on Kyle O'Reilly and then guards the eyes of Kyle O'Reilly. The referee calls for the break. John Moxley goes to stomps Kyle O'Reilly, but he moves. Both men exchange forearm shots. Kyle O'Reilly takes down John Moxley and hits him with the palm strikes. Kyle O'Reilly applies an ankle lock on John Moxley. Kyle O'Reilly stomps on the ankle of John Moxley and then hits him with a knee. We hits him with a knee strike. Kyle O'Reilly covers John Moxley, but John Moxley kicks out at 2. John Moxley comes back and hits John Moxley with an elbow strike. Kyle O'Reilly comes back with knees to the face on Kyle O'Reilly. John Moxley is then hits with an elbow strike. John Moxley nails Kyle O'Reilly and goes for a power driver, but Kyle O'Reilly counters with a triangle on John Moxley. Kyle O'Reilly then nails John Moxley with the BK. John Moxley then comes back, taking down Kyle O'Reilly with a lariat. Both men are down. John Moxley, who is bleeding from head, Kyle O'Reilly sends him down. Kyle O'Reilly comes back with a ankle lock on John Moxley. John Moxley makes it to the ropes to force the break. John Moxley goes to the floor as Kyle O'Reilly leaps over and lands on John Moxley, locking in armbar. John Moxley is sent to the barricade, and then into a chair. As Kyle O'Reilly goes to charge John Moxley, Maria Shafir gets in the way. Kyle O'Reilly then looks up. John Moxley, as the referee, then calls for the bell with the 10 count hitting. The fans show their disdain. Kyle O'Reilly asks Aubrey Edwards to restart the match, but Maria Shafir knocks her out. Roderick Strong hits the ring, but the numbers game are too much with Reilly, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli already in the ring. Darby Allin and the rest of the conglomeration hit the ring to make the save. Darby Allin grabs a skateboard. Darby Allin grabs a mic and challenges the Death Riders. Mark Briscoe then grabs the mic and issues a challenge for a perfect solution to the issue with the Death Riders. He hands the mic to Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy hesitates and then says, "Blood and guts." Hey, it is what it is. So yeah, so we get John Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly double countout. So we go to commercial break. Back from the commercial, Chris Stanley and Mercedes Moné are fighting backstage. which then goes to the entrance arena. Chris Statlander hosts up Mercedes Moné and draws her face first on the apron. Chris Statlander Chris Statlander is up on the apron, but taken down from behind. Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena. Chris Statlander is tossed in the ring, but Athena, who then connects with the old face, Monet chokes out Chris Statlander. Will Nightingale music hits as she runs down to make the save. Alright, it is what it is. We go to a video package with Bandito and his mother, who speaks out her son's accomplishment and how she was invited to his wrestle for the very first time. Alright, but back in the venue, the music of the Sister and Sin hit as Sky Blue and Julia Hart comes out down to the ring. Commentary mentions that Penelope Ford is injured and then will not be able to participate in the women's tag title tournament and Blood and Guts. Up next up is the music of Jamie Hayter and Queen Athena make their way to the ring. So we get an AEW Women's Tag Team Title Tournament quarterfinals. Jamie Hayter and Queen Amnata versus the Sisters of Sin, Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And this was a decent match for what it was. The bell rings as The bell rings as Amnata takes down Sky Blue and riders her. Amnata tags in Jamie Hayter and snap suplex Jamie Blue. What's her name? Sky Blue. With a snap suplex Sky Blue and then tags in Amnata. Another quick tag. Jamie Hayter covers Sky Blue, who kicks out at 2. Julia Hart comes in and is suplexed by Amnata and Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter then back suplex Sky Blue and covers her for only a 2 count. Jamie Hayter chops Sky Blue. Julia Hart blood tags in as she hits Jamie Hayter from behind. Sky Blue and Julia Hart double team Jamie Hayter. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Sky Blue and Julia Hart continue to double team Jamie Hayter, who fights back and tags in Amnata. She takes down Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Amnata covers Sky Blue, but she kicks out at 2. Jamie Hayter draws Sky Blue with a lariat and covers her, but Julia Hart breaks up the pin attempt. Jamie Hayter and Amnata double team Sky Blue and Julia Hart, followed by a pair of lariats. All four women are down. Sky Blue and Amnata and Sky Blue charges blow. Amnata puts on a submission hold on Sky Blue. But Julia Hart breaks it up. Jamie Hayter is up on the apron, but taken out by the collar with a spear, who comes out from under the ring. Sky Blue then trips up Amnata and drops her and covers her for the win. The winner by pinfall, Sister of Sin. This is a decent match for what it was, but let me take a sip of my water. Alright, let me continue. I had to take a sip of my water. We go backstage with Tony Schiavone, who is Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford, who is wearing a sling. Penelope Ford says she has torn her UCL and it's out indefinitely. Megan Bayne calls out any woman that is willing to step up, and she will decide who is worthy. Maurice Pierre comes in and says she is listening. John Moxley then comes in and tells Megan to look out. Alright. Commercial break. Back from the break, the music of Samoa Joe hits as the fans chant his name while he makes his way to the ring. Up next is Ricochet, who heads to the ring. Hook music hits as he makes his way to the ring. As he makes his way to the ring, finally the music of the Hurt Syndicate hits. As Bobby Lashley makes his way out to a "We Heard People" chant. Alright, so we get a Fright Night 4-way fight. So we get Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet versus Samoa Joe versus Hook. The winner will challenge Hangman Adam Page. Will challenge Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship title at Full Gear. Alright. The bell rings as we underway. Samoa Joe goes out to Hook, who then grabs Samoa Joe. Bobby Lashley trips up, and Samoa Joe then sends him into the steel steps. Bobby Lashley hits the ring as Lashley picks up Ricochet and tosses him over his head. Hook goes after Bobby Lashley with right hands, but Bobby Lashley sends him on the apron, who lands on his feet. Bobby Lashley runs the ropes and sends Hook to the floor. Ricochet goes after Bobby Lashley as Samoa Joe leaves through the ropes, taking down Bobby Lashley and Ricochet, and the fans love it. So I'm gonna take another sip of my water. Back from the break, Samoa Joe and Hook exchange shots in the ring. Bobby Lashley and Ricochet are still down on the floor. Samoa Joe power slams Hook and covers him, but Ricochet comes in and breaks up the pin attempt. Samoa Joe nails Ricochet with the right hand, but Bobby Lashley comes in and shoulder tackles Ricochet, sending him to the outside. Ricochet drops Samoa Joe with a spine buster. Bobby Lashley has Hook up, but Hook counters and sends Bobby Lashley to the floor. Hook suplexes Samoa Joe, but Ricochet comes in and drops him. Ricochet leaps over the top rope. Leaps over the top ropes, taking out Bobby Lashley and Samoa Joe on the floor. Ricochet comes down with a shooting star press on Hook. 1-2, no. Hook kicks out. Ricochet goes for a spirit gun, but Hook counters with a red drum. Samoa Joe breaks up with a senton. Samoa Joe holds Hook up and goes for a muscle buster, but Bobby Lashley spirits them. Bobby Lashley covers Hook, but Ricochet breaks it up with a 450 off the top rope. Ricochet grabs Hook, but rolls him up for only a 2 count. Ricochet hits Bobby Lashley with a chair from behind. Samoa Joe locks in the coquina clutch on Hook, who taps out before Bobby Lashley can break the hold. Alright, the winner by submission, Samoa Joe. And this main event, this was a good main event for what it was. The rest of the odds hits the ring to celebrate. Tony Schiavone is in the ring and says the rest of the odds hit the ring to celebrate. Tony Schiavone is in the ring and says they will sign the contract tonight. Tony Schiavone calls for the contract crew to come out. They are all dressed in costume. Samoa Joe is handed the contract. He then grabs a mic and says he wants to ensure this is the safest environment. For him to sign the contract. The rest of the ops take out the crew. They grab one of the crew in a costume, think it's Hangman Adam Page, but they pull the mask off. And it's not. Samoa Joe signs the contract and tosses it. Samoa Joe grabs a mic and says, "Hangman, days are numbered, and standing in front of you, it's the next time. AEW World Champion is now official." Samoa Joe, AEW World Champion is official now. Tony calls for a toast for the ops and grab a bottle. What looks to be Tony in the ring. It's Paige dressed up as Tony, who is wearing the mask. Wearing the mask as Tony Schiavone takes out the odds from behind. Security and referee come in to hold Hangman Page back as Samoa Joe is down on the mat trying to get up. Security holds back back. I'm sorry, trying to get up and security holds back Hangman as the show goes off the air. All right, let me get my honest opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. All right, let me be honest, and let me get my honest opinion. AEW Dynamite was a decent show for what it was. This was way better than Raw and NXT combined together. Yeah, I said it. And that's just my opinion. It's nothing but facts. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning. Give this video at least 30 likes. Comment down below what you guys think of AEW Dynamite. As I already said, it was a decent show. It was way better than Raw and NXT combined together. But anyway, follow my social media down below in the description. And I will see you guys tonight at 4 o'clock a.m. for my upcoming world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. And tomorrow, Thursday, I will be going live on Twitch for some retro gaming. So I hope you guys will be there. Drop some followers, drop some bits, and drop some gift subs as well too. Alright, cause my goal is to grind. My goal is to Twitch partner, and that's all I gotta say. And I need everybody to help me to get to Twitch partner. So that's much as important. So it's all about staying consistent. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.